Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Social Sessions with Tim and Doug. Today, we're going to tackle a question we've been getting a lot recently from different users of the O4A platform. When is the best time of day to post? Our platform, One for All Social, does show you some insights based on your accounts. When what the best type of media to post is, what the best day of the week to post is. But we've getting the question a lot about what time of day to post is, and that's kind of a loaded answer, actually. So, Tim, do you have some thoughts on that? When the best time is?
Yeah, so there's other companies out there that'll say, oh, the best time of day to post is between 3 and 5. Well, what they're doing is they're looking at when the majority of people are logged into the platform they're talking about, whether it's Instagram or X or Facebook or whatever. But what they're not realizing is that in order to get good timeline placement, if you post it at 3 o'clock and that's the busy time, you may not show up at the top of people's timeline. You really need to post before that busy time to drive engagement. And what I mean by that is posts, and it's not just Instagram, it's not just Twitter, it's not just YouTube, it's everybody. All the algorithms on the other side are not posting things in timeline order unless you go specifically add them to. So what I mean by that is if we go look at my homepage on X here, and you could do this on any of the platforms, you've got this for you section and you've got a following section. Well, that'll just show me people I'm following. This will show me things that the algorithm decides I should see. And most of the platforms don't make it that easy to sort out. Most of them are just going to show it to you in the order that they decided you should see it. And what you find in here is that some of these are people I follow, some of these are people that I don't. It's like that's a person I follow, that's a person I follow. Somewhere in here we'll find one that I don't. When that happens, what you'll notice is that it is because it's a post that had a lot of engagement on it. And what I mean by engagement isn't just, somebody watching a video or looking at your post. I mean actual engagement, like likes, retweets, comments, quote tweets. And what you'll find is that the more highly engaged posts, like that's a highly engaged post, get more views. The reason they get more views is because they show up on timelines of people that aren't following them. So the more engaged you can get, the more engagement you can grab, the better off you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like you said, this applies to all platforms, not just X. So, like in the case of Instagram, those will show up maybe in your Reels or other sections, right? Things like that.
Reels, shorts on YouTube are great for it.
Hmm.
TikTok has a very engaged user base. Anything with a video tends to grab it a lot more, even on Twitter. But the other thing I'm seeing that's really kind of exciting is that as you get that engaged audience, it actually will grow your account quicker. But if let's say you're a business or you're even for my stuff, right? So I post a lot of things that are sort of business related, but I post a lot of things that aren't. The massive amount of engagement will typically come from the non-spam oriented things. And I don't want to say all advertising is spam because it's not, because we advertise too. But when you look at what's going to drive engagement and growth on my account, it's not a marketing tweet. It's not a marketing post on Instagram. It's a personal story. So you have to post that personal side. You have to post that human interest side. And it may not be personal to you, or maybe not be about you. It might be personal about, oh, look, I saw something down the street that happened in my neighborhood and I wanted to talk about it for a minute, whatever that is, right? So the more it is social media, for goodness sake, right? It is designed to kind of be social and interact with people. And more, what I'm finding when you run the numbers is to get that higher number of views and to get that growth in your audience, you really need engagement, right? It's not just enough to say, well, I posted 3 videos today. I posted 2 of this. They've got to be things people want to interact with. And you have to know your audience to do that. You have to know your target audience to do that. That takes a while to learn, which is why we have the insight section and the hashtag tool is to help you find that audience and then understand what it is they interact with best. So, Doug, you have any other thoughts? I mean,
No, that's really it. That mix of content we've always preached social media be social, right? So it's that good blend of mix of content that isn't just advertising your offering, your business or whatnot, but it's really things that your audience is going to pick up on once you find them. Once you find your voice and you find your audience, continuing to put that out there, and just to engage folks so that every it isn't just what Tim may say spam, and like you said, it's not all spam, but it isn't just advertisements. It's actually being social and engaging with your audience, and then that will lead you to the best time supposed to get that engagement, which will as which will positively affect your business and bring you what you're looking for at the end of the day. So
Yeah, so like take and I don't want to pick on any crowd in particular, but I'm part of this one, so I can pick on it a little bit. But if you look at like the indie author crowd, the independently published, self-published authors, whatever you call it, which I'm one of them, I see a lot of people who will post in that world and they're like, "Oh, help me out, buy my book." Nobody cares, right? But the times I've actually had more people purchase books or look at them intently is like, here's what sparked me to actually write this book, and it was much more of a personal statement about what it was that kind of sparked the idea, and then everybody went, "Oh, well, that's kind of interesting," and I sold a bunch of copies. The same can be true for a business. Like the most interaction we get on social media for O4A is like, "Hey, why did you start it?" Well, once we tell people that, that actually does kind of back into our value proposition. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that, you know, you can't really discuss your business or plug it someplace or try to drive new traffic to it. But what caused you to start that business? What service you providing? What are you doing for people that makes their life better, right? That sort of stuff really does go a lot further on social media rather than just saying, "Hey, we've got this book for $4.99, go get it, it's great." Right.
you know, in a world that's becoming more and more more and more utilizing AI, be human. You know, be personable.
Right. The more keywords, it's not the time. Social media is not a place where you can sit at that 100,000 foot level and go, "Oh, look, you know, here's some generic statement, and therefore everything's great." Right. This will let you, our system and social media in general will let you find a very specific audience. It's time to get down in those detail weeds, right? It's time to say, okay, here's what we're doing, right? Get down to that level because there is an audience for anything out there. I'm convinced of it. When I was posting pictures of my late mother's salt and pepper shakers, I grew an audience of people who love salt and pepper shakers. I have like 400 of the things. I don't know anything to do with them, but there were people telling me like, "Oh, that one's from like 1947." People actually came up with details about these things I didn't know, and it was kind of interesting to me. So and I posted pictures of 300 or 400 sets of salt and pepper shakers, and I got a ton of information about them as a result of that. So there is an audience out there for anything. Talking all the details you want, but make sure that you actually are correct. Because one thing about social media you'll find is if you're not exactly right, if you're sort of off by 5 degrees, man, there'll be people jumping on you to tell you how wrong you are. Which is a great, it's a double-edged sword, right? It's good and it's bad. You learn something, but at the same
I,
time, you got jumped on.
that may
So
not be bad in all cases, right? You might get some
yeah,
engagement, even though maybe not engagement you want initially. It might lead to good. So just be careful, I guess, is the message here, right?
yeah. Well, my son was trying to learn something about pianos one day, and he posted something that was slightly wrong, and 12 people corrected him, which I thought was interesting. But it is a great tool to use, but that engagement is more vital than ever. All the algorithms are shifting to show things that are highly engaged. It's not just in timeline order. Like if I post it right now, you might not see it for 2 or 3 hours just because the timeline decided you shouldn't until it gets that engagement. But once you get that, it starts to show up for a lot more people. So engagement is the key. Anything you can do to be engaging, to get people to respond to you, interact with you. And by the same token, and it's kind of difficult, like my Twitter account's up over 11,000 followers now. If I post something, I'm going to get comments within minutes, right? And I had one yesterday that had 260 something comments on it. I can't answer them all. But your audience likes it if you answer some of them, right? So you may not be able to answer every comment that gets left, but go in there and actually answer a few of them, be interactive with your audience. It helps enormously, and you will grow even further, even faster, and it drives your engagement rate through the roof.
So while it's good to know best days to post, best type of media, it's been more important to focus on your content and making sure that your content is engaging. That's really the message here, and not be so obsessed over what time of day does this need to go out. If your
All right.
content is good and engaging, it will be picked up.
And if you get the right hashtags, you will absolutely find the right audience, and our tool does that. So those two things
Help
are
with
key.
you. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe the video, subscribe to our channel, and check out o4a.com today.